Johnson and had human feces in your yard.
So have y'all seen that video
Which one?
of the guy that crapped on some?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mayor Joe Taylor Show. Jeff Wonder with this guy in this beautiful green. Is that the Master shirt?
Oh,
No. It's
I take
Notre
back what I
Dame.
said. I take back. That's Jerry White. What's up, man?
You know, just here hanging out with our mayor.
I came in this morning running late, and the doors already closed.
Yeah.
I said, them brothers are in executive
We're in
session.
executive session. That's right. Well, today's qualification day for local elections. Everywhere but Gadsden.
Can we have
Gadsden's
a
on
moment of
different-
silence for Beth Lee?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
you know
man.
she's on.
Yeah, she's loving it. Right now.
She is in her element.
Yeah,
right
she's
now.
excited. She was in there the other day putting together all of her like election packets for people that come up, and there's no question. I mean, you come in there when you leave, you know what you got to do, and that's the way it's going to go. And she'll read the riot act to you.
You think there's any surprises that come out that register today? Or that
I
qualify,
don't know. I don't think so. I think anybody that's running against, like in our council's case, that's running against any of us, by now probably should have announced. If not, that may be because they've waited and held out to see who's going to. It's more about posturing and positioning yourself, for success but. I think probably everybody's out there. There may be one or two that'll jump in, midway. In the last election, Jeff Prince and Jameson Jenkins qualified on the last day. Yeah. And it was just where, they were trying to weigh it out and see the way it was going to all shake out. Saw the pieces fall into the puzzle and saw a couple of missing and jumped in there and decided that they were going to be in the race. And boy, did it ever work out for them.
They did great.
Yeah, they did.
I'm excited to see who all is going to oppose the incumbents. Should be fun. We're hearing some.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna wait for that spreadsheet from Beth Lee.
Yeah, she'll put it out. I mean, it's 14 days from now. You got from now until the 24th, and to get qualified and pay you $50, and you're in the race. And then the rules kick in.
Rules.
Yeah, boy, do they ever have some rules. I mean, just the reporting and all of that stuff. You'd think we're running for U.S. Senate, but and that's why when people start talking about the election process and saying that there's corruption here, corruption there, it's not in Rainbow City, by gosh. I'm telling you, Beth Lee ain't gonna have it.
She ain't tolerating no nonsense.
She ain't gonna have it.
She's so funny.
I heard somebody said that you were scrounging up $50. What I heard.
Dude, you got 50. I'll
what I
loan you
heard.
50.
That's what I heard.
Who's the victim gonna be?
I don't know.
Because if I put my name in the hat,
idea.
I'm saying because
I like the confidence.
this ain't.
I love it.
There is no question.
gotta have confidence.
There's no question. I could run an election.
Yeah.
Right. I can stir some stuff
Oh,
up.
you could stir it up.
It could be
you
fun.
can tune up that social media.
There's
I mean,
no question.
You got some things. You got some skill set.
Tell them your campaign slogan.
Let's hear it.
I can't.
You got to.
Come on, man.
You got
You
to.
ready? You ready for
Yeah,
it?
Joe,
yeah.
you got to.
Here's my because I've been playing for this for years.
Okay.
Right? White is right.
Love it.
Sign it up. Put it on the sign.
That'll work. That'll work, won't it?
It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But in all,
It'd be hilarious.
It would be. It would.
and I
Think
would.
about the horror of looking to your right
And
and, to
going,
your
"Oh."
left, and there he is.
There wouldn't be a better moment in my life than for me to turn and say, Mr. White, to let you get your comments in.
Well, I enjoy public speaking,
Yeah.
and I could not wait for a debate.
Yeah. See, we've got the microphones now, so you're going to be heard.
Oh,
That's
what about
all
the-
you need.
What about the chairs? See that
Oh,
squishy
chairs are
chair?
great. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're about to replace our chairs.
Okay, because there's been some
Yeah.
issues. With
Well, there's
chairs.
some height problems there, and we got a couple of them that get moved around, and
I'm
certain,
hearing it's a little-
there's a little bit of a.
Does
a
one of
show.
them have a slow?
Yeah, it is, and it'll pump. Yeah, they put that in my place before.
Yeah.
and they know it infuriates me.
That's
but
gonna be so
it's funny.
It's a councilman on the far. If you're
That's
looking at
Clark Hopper. and
Clark
Clark Hopper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Officer Harper, or is he? What was he? A sergeant or a
He was I think he was a sergeant.
sergeant?
Yeah, may have made lieutenant.
I looked at the watching last night, and bro, he's way down.
Oh yeah. Well, they moved it.
Is he
It was Anita had it. She put it where Jeff's was. Jeff moved it down to Randy's, and I think it was either Randy or Jeff moved it down to Clark. Clark said, "I'm not arguing with you." I mean, you know,
You don't want to be the last person at council.
It looked
meeting.
like he was laid
No,
back.
he did. He rolled up a little bit. He was out in the crowd talking, and you could see that thing. It was just. It had a diminishing effect where it was dropping down. It's hilarious. We have a good time up there.
I said, man, he's just chilling.
Yeah.
he is just.
He has. He's done with it
back.
today, man.
I'm out of here.
That's a confident brother.
Yeah. Well, that and Clark, I tell you, if you heard his final comment, you know, Clark's just in a different place in his life. He's retired. He's kind of got away from that law enforcement. He
Yeah.
was always in murder investigation and that kind of stuff, you know, and when he was working at the prison system.
Yeah.
And you know that wears on you, man. That'll take a big portion of your humanity away. And Clark's beginning to have that nice recovery and coming back in the world. But now he's almost long suffering. Now I'm not going to say that he is yet, but he's getting there.
That's so fun.
Clark's a good guy.
We enjoyed
man.
having him in.
Yeah.
He was super nice.
He is a good guy.
Yeah, he always makes me laugh. I love to see
Yeah.
what he's going to say.
Yeah.
He's pretty funny. How could he be friends with Randy Weiss, though?
Man,
How's that work out?
they're buddies, man. They you know we've got a really good working relationship all
Yeah.
across our council. But it's funny because I'm telling you, if y'all could sit in our work session, and you can, it's really worth it to come to the work session because that's when Clark gets on Randy, and I mean he rides.
I need to
him
see.
back.
I need that in
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
I
And
need that.
then Randy will pop off back to him, and then Jameson will come across the table on one of them. And it really is. It's a good situation.
Does Jameson run across the conference table like that elf on?
Yeah, like the little elf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jameson last night, and that's the thing that this is Beth Lee's season. Now,
Yeah.
when you get into around elections, now I'm gonna tell you that lady is emboldened, and she will tell you how it's gonna be. And last night she popped off a couple of one-liners in our work session and in our pre-council, and I thought Jameson was going to die. He'd get up and leave one time because she just and it's where she's cracking on all of us. I mean, she's constantly cracking on one of us.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
There was a lot of people there last night.
Oh yeah, a ton of people.
Yeah, it was good to see.
Yeah, we have we had the Coosa River Keepers guy was there last night. We had a citizen, Clark Thompson, who's works for the DA's office. He had a problem, and Clark will tell you he overreacts a little bit at times, but he had reacted to a water meter leak,
Yeah.
and having a leak there close to his house, and he came up and just said, "Hey, I know I kind of went off the rails a little bit, but just so thankful that he could pick up the phone and call his council member." And I think that's what people almost don't understand is that, you know, I heard somebody say the other day, and they were talking in one of the other cities about their election and wondering why you're not running in districts and representing a district or a certain thing. Well, you know, it's the size of the city, it's the classification of the city. But what it does is it gives you 5 opportunities, 6, because you can call me as well, 6 opportunities to get a hold of somebody on that council. Because I'm considered a council member,
Yeah.
and so that's 6 opportunities. If you're in a district, you have one shot at it. And you know if you happen to have a council member that's just forgetful, not that they would be a bad member, but just forgetful, you may not get your ditch cleaned out or your right of way taken care of. You know, And so I believe that our system, I wish we could hold on to it.
Yeah.
You know, our problem is that we're growing so fast. It's not far in the future that we'll have to convert to a mayor council form of government, and that's tough, because at that point, I think it breeds selfishness into the politics of everything, and it's just my opinion, but
Sure.
I think you can see it if you start going to these other cities where you got a council chair who is, by the nature of the establishment, the most powerful person, because he's the guy that can actually say that we're going to spend this money, and the mayor becomes just an administrator.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't really like the looks of that. I think the way we have it now is you have 6 equals and one person that basically takes care of personnel, and that's me.
I think that's where a lot of cities get it twisted, and these city employees have 6-8 different bosses.
Right. Yeah, and that is it. And I explained that to a lady the other day that called, and she was just a little furious and she lives in another city, so she called me to try to get me to sort that out for her. And I said, look, you know, when you go to that district type of representation, you know, unless you've got somebody that's really a bulldog, you may never be heard. Your district may never get anything.
It's true.
Even though the services are basically leveled out and balanced, you know, your garbage is going to get picked up, your roadside's going to be done. Those things are going to happen across the city, but there's times when, you know, there's opportunity for a new community center or a refurbishment of your ball field that's in your park in your area that you may get missed. Well, in our case, you know, the parks are just at large. So all of our members have to come, you know, we get in a room and say, hey, what do we do next? We've got this amount of money. What can we apply it to? And, you know, and right now we're doing a big construction project. You can see it going on right now at Vivian Maddox, you know, where we're tearing our fields out and going to turf. That's a big deal.
That's
but
huge.
in conjunction with that, we're going to be working in Park Street Park and changing out some playground equipment and doing a little bit of refurbishment. But that park, we kind of brought that park alive by putting pickleball in it. And so we're just going to kind of continue that slow, steady work that is government, as bad as I hate it, and it's going well.
There's no question the parks are going well. I mean, I drove by yesterday midday down there going towards Mom's house, and park, whatever, packed.
Yeah,
playing pickleball.
That's right.
Packed.
Yeah, and you got
That
your
was
pickleball
midday.
people. You got the guys that come through that are. You have a lot of delivery men and delivery women that come through. FedEx people and that they'll stop and eat lunch.
That's right. Yep.
And you know they know they're safe there. They know they're good to go, and you know they're carrying, you know, pretty precious cargo for people, and so they know they can go there and honestly not get hijacked. And so they come.
We see 'em here in the
to
church
know
all the
that
time.
to know that somebody's coming to your public park.
Yeah.
Because in most cities that is a dangerous area.
Sure.
You know, and they'll close them down at night, do things like that. You know, we throw the lights on and tell people to have a good time. Yeah. And you know, and our police department is constantly policing those areas, and you know they'll stop and get a pickleball game up. You know, and they have that freedom to do that.
Awesome. I love that.
Well, you can't argue a pickleball call with a police officer with a gun on his
What you
side.
gonna
No, I mean that guy's not taking that gun
getting
belt.
taken.
That was out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I can shoot you a spot and
just
tell
tap-
you where.
tap on the
Yeah,
side.
that's right. Yeah, we're gonna do
Your
this.
point. It's your point. You're good to go. So, let's talk a little bit about the new turf. That's going to open up so many opportunities, year-long opportunities for the city.
It does.
It's bigger than people, I think, realize.
That's right. You know, we call it practice and play, and that's been our struggle for so long, is that we don't have enough sand lots.
Sure.
And I'll be honest with you. You know, we at our age would like to say, well, those kids need to go out there and learn how to play, you know, in a hayfield.
Yeah.
That sounds good, but at the same time, you know, there is a safety factor in that.
Yeah.
These kids that now are moving on from rec ball to travel ball and on into school, you know, they're physical machines. By the time they hit high school, these are grown men,
That's right.
grown women, and I think what we're trying to do is to be able to compress that need for more land by just doing better with what we have. And we know that we'll have 4, 5, 6, 7 practice field opportunities that we have not had in the past. And by turfing all of those fields, and it allows us to bring girls softball back on this side of of the county, and we're going to do a softball field up by the rec center, and it's going to be turfed, and all new dugouts, new fencing, and just doing it right again. All of our facilities were built right when they were built. There was a lot of quality went into that. It goes back to Mr. McCartney and Terry John and all of these people, Mr. Keenum and Mr. Ramsey. Frank Ramsey was a big pusher of Parks and Recreation, and all of those guys that had that vision then. We're just going to go in and kind of create color to their vision, and take that black and white photo and refurbish it and make it all brand new, and it's going to be great. It's about we're going to spend about $6.5 million on fields, and then we'll be doing some other remodeling and some other things. A little bit of a water project down in our Commerce Center, and it's cool.
A lot of people in different municipalities, when they see parks and baseball fields and soccer fields and all those different things getting repurposed, a lot of people freak out and say, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk about it. But they don't understand the amount of money that generates.
Yeah. Your economic development now, as far as like just if you go to any place where you're going to go and speak to someone about them bringing their industry or their commercial establishment to your city, the first thing that they ask for, and it is the most important, is your quality of place. Sure. And that is what are your and it's almost a little combination of what are your schools doing, how do they grade out, tell us about your Parks and Recreation, and tell us about your outdoor opportunity that are not organized, which is trails, bike paths, all of those things. Well, we have all of that. And we have all of it is in very pristine shape. We have John Jones, we have Westbrook Christian, Rainbow Middle School, Challenger Learning coming online soon. Every bit of those things just kind of lend to, okay, we know our kids are going to be educated. Now how are we going to make sure that they stay in shape, stay healthy in their minds? After COVID, what we found out is we can lock our kids down. The kids were already beginning to lock down and becoming couch potatoes and that kind of thing. Now we know we got to get them outside.
That's right.
And when we got them outside, we started building back. I mean, you deal with it all the time, Jeff. Mental health.
That's right.
Mental health. There's a group of people right now that we're seeing in the system that pandemic did that to them.
Yep.
It created mental health problems, and it's part of what we're trying to do now.
Yeah, my wife is seeing those kids that she calls them the COVID babies. They're coming into school now, and a lot of those kids didn't have social skills, that don't have the social skills that they need, and because their parents weren't getting them out, and because they were told not to,
right?
And all of those different things.
Well, to be fair, part of those parents didn't have social skills.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that kind of segues into the fact that we have this crazy good library with a summer reading program. And, we know that if you take the kids for 9 months and you put them in school, and then, because the very beginning of the school is not a lot of learning, they can't help it. They have to get everything kind of situated. And then the very end of the school is the same thing. You kind of get everybody ready to get out and get the building emptied out. What we're finding out is our summer reading program is creating this opportunity for the kids to keep learning. We know that if they only go 9 months a year, they degrade in the summer. So if we put an educational opportunity in place at our library, and we'll have 400 or 500 kids there every week, that is the chance for us to keep that learning environment, that learning habit, and that learning behavior in place for our kids. Yeah. And we're seeing it in our elementary and middle school, seeing it over at our private school at Westbrook, that we're keeping our kids engaged, and therefore they don't have that regression during the summer.
Yeah.
Tim, you want to read this this statement?
Yeah, I love it. It says it's from Stinky Good Candles.
It's a great name, by the way.
Yeah, I love that.
That's great.
I need to try that.
That's great. I love it.
It says, I'm glad you acknowledge that children have mental health issues, because I know several schools that don't even acknowledge children have mental health issues. And then they get punished for going to to mental health. So I'm thrilled that you're talking about this in our children's lives.
Well, I think my time as a firefighter, my time in the military, because there's so many people that deal with PTSD in whatever form it is. I like to tell people that I don't think I have that, but there are certain things. I was discussing with my former sister-in-law today that there's, her son saw a horrendous accident where 3 people lost their lives. I'm just sorry, y'all, that, I hate it that, we witness and see things like that. And I'm telling you, it has a life effect on you. Sure. And y'all deal with that. You're dealing with people continuously. Yeah. And you find out that it can come down to one event for a child. And, I came from, I was the kid that lost his parents when I was still in elementary school. And by the time I kind of grew up, I became a little bit of a punching block for the kids that had parents. Yeah. I don't even think they knew they were doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But what you do is you begin to develop either a tough exterior, which was me, and I would just punch you in the face, or you would have the kids that would pull back inside themselves. And I think that's even more dangerous. Because there's a set of rules and law that tells us we can't punch everybody in the face. There's not one that says that we can't be quiet, and that worries me to death. Yeah. That our kids are out there suffering in their own world, and I appreciate that question. But I can tell you, our schools. I was telling you right before the show started. We just had a mental health summit. And brought in judges and brought in people from probation, brought in people from mental health, and all of these resources that have never necessarily worked together. And what we're trying to do is create a system where we can pass people off, and not pass them off as in you go away, but pass them off knowing that they're going to get some care and understanding in their situation. And
talk about forward thinking.
Yeah, I think so too. I watch our probate judge. He does it different. I'm telling you, he comes. He is a great man, and and his thing is, well, let's try it. Let's do it. Our DA's office, let's try it. Let's do it. Why not? I mean, we know where our failures are. Our failures are in the system that we've created right now. Yeah. So let's just go fix it. And we may break a few things fixing it, but at least we tried.
Amen.
And we'll be able to go down in history of saying that, well, we gave it a run, whether it worked or not.
Well, when you don't address that, you see the outcome of it. Your court systems are overloaded. When it could probably some residual offenders could be helped if somebody sat down with them and found out what their needs were and listened to them a little bit and helped them along that way instead of just processing them through the court system. Yours is a little different because you have a judge and a clerk of courts and all of those the magistrates there that actually care about people.
That's right.
And so it's a little different here.
And internal probation, what we've decided is that we would way rather have you go through a reporting and amnesty system that would allow for you to go and get help than we had to get your fine.
That's right.
And and here's the truth: if you have somebody that's homeless or near homeless, and that's I think we talk about homelessness, we don't talk about the near homeless, and that's the people that are within a few days of being kicked out of their home. And what we try to do is say, hey, we're not going to pile another $500 worth of fines on you, because that's why they won't come back to court.
Right. Yeah.
That's why they won't go to color code to keep them in their secession program. We want them to get off of drugs, to get off of their bad behavior or their addictive behavior, so that our court system's not overloaded. And so instead of us using our court, and it is not used to make money. Yeah. I'm sorry, if you get caught going 90 miles an hour through an intersection, you're getting a ticket in Iowa City.
You're going to pay. Only thing you get,
and you're going to pay that ticket, because we're not going to give you amnesty on that. You can't be. You don't get amnesty for being an idiot. You get amnesty here, because there's a reason for it. Yeah, I'm out.
Sorry.
But
I think it's pretty fitting. We're talking mental health, and just like that, Trent Thrasher starts watching.
Right.
You talk about I wasn't going with the joke there. I'm talking.
No,
talking
yeah,
about,
absolutely.
you
But I can see it both ways.
Me too.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, that's
I was
fair.
waiting on
That's
it.
fair. I wasn't gonna do that, but you talk about somebody that's, the Clinic 5 is just as much about mental health
Oh, yeah, for
as anything.
Yeah, I think that's it's we've partnered with Clinic 5, done a public-private partnership with them with some of our opioid money, and it's what they told us when we got that stuff is, okay, you can do intervention, you can do training, you can put some in your law enforcement. Okay, you can't buy just so much Narcan,
That's fair.
and
right.
and so we can go out there and put a pamphlet on every coffee table in this place, and that has nothing to do with stopping people from doing drugs. We have to engage with our children through our SRO programs, and we keep our SROs absolutely tuned up, knowing to be able to identify, counsel, and do the things that technically they're not supposed to do. They're there to secure that school.
One of them got an award this past
That's
week.
right.
that was a
a
huge-
statewide award.
That was
Michael
incredible.
Reeves is a
Well deserved.
That dude is a real deal SRO, and we have them. We have them everywhere. Mike Prater, Sergeant Pickard down here at John Jones. These guys are beloved by the kids.
Yeah.
And when you go in and every kid in the morning is getting a fist bump from a police officer. Right. We don't have that fear of our authority now, and I think we're trying to do things a little different. Chief Yancey and Captain Holderfield and Jordan McCartney, who is over our Lieutenant McCartney, over our SROs. They do it different, y'all. And I think that understanding that they have a big part to play in this puzzle, but mental health is just something that if we don't continue to put money in it. I mean, we're watching what 50 years of lack of mental health in California is doing right now.
That's right.
Now we can turn around and make that about 100 different things.
Sure,
but
sure.
When you're out there and these people can't seem to sort out their differences without setting a car on fire. Because I'm just going to tell you, there's a reason why that doesn't happen in this area. That's right. And it's not because we hate immigrants or people of color or anything like that. It's because we're still maintaining our civility. And we have to, because we can't teach our kids that, if you don't get your way, go out there and burn your mama's car down. That's insanity. And, and we're just deciding to be insane right now.
Sometimes you just need good home training.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And we had law enforcement when we were kids.
Sure.
I think about Jimmy McKevin, Super Cop.
Yeah, Super Cop.
Super Cop.
Think about Bobby Reeves.
Bobby Reeves, Bobby Reeves.
Jeff, the detective that was our baseball coach in summer ball, travel ball. Jeff, I can't remember his name anyway. He was a detective. They were all involved with young people, and
it was different.
It was very different.
Yeah.
It was a lot of community policing, and that's what you guys are doing. And it's just
it is
makes a difference.
We've got a new police officer the other day that told me, he said, I just didn't realize that this is the way you're supposed to police. And, he's got 3 years in the deal. He's been in the game long enough to know. And he said,
all cities
he said, I can't
equal.
believe the freedom that we have to just walk into a business and say, hey, I'm your police officer today. How do you feel about that? And being well received. It's rare that our fire department or police officers go out that there's not an offer to buy their meal. Sure. There's nothing wrong with that. I do that every chance that if I see a service member, I try to do that and pay them back, because they don't make anything.
Yeah.
That we can't pay our police and firefighters what's deserved of the job, and that's from a person that did it for 25 years for very little money.
Right.
And so I can speak from experience.
We got about 5 minutes left.
Yep.
Okay.
But
we'll go through a couple quick
jump
things.
into that. Yeah.
First of all, Mr. Danny Starnes, any update on the tenants for the mega site?
And this is going to sound like a story, but we are not as involved in the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah.
What we do is we feed information to Department of Commerce, to the EDAA, to different entities that then communicate with people that are looking. We know, just based on the politics of Washington, that there is way more opportunity now than we had just 2 years ago, a year ago, whatever. And so are people asking for a lot of information? Yes. or do we know that there's interest in what we have over what anyone else has? The answer is yes. We've got crazy good location on the edge of an interstate, all the power, water, gas, sewer within the next weeks, and it's not long. It will
Police and
be
fire
in place. Spur, off of Norfolk Southern Railroad. Every piece of the puzzle is sitting out there waiting for a tenant. And so I can say this, every time we spend money, every time we get grant money, which we continually are getting, which should let you know that we're moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
State of Alabama doesn't give you $3.3 million that we received just last week, so that into a mega site that brings a total amount of investment to around $50 million for us not to get
That's
something.
huge.
right.
That is
So
huge.
I think it's a read between the lines kind of thing.
Thank
and
you for the
Danny
question,
knows
Danny.
that.
He just
That was a
likes
setup question, but I
Hey,
appreciate Danny.
Quickly, Jameson Jenkins says, tell Joe that Beth was very proud of me for being the first to qualify this morning.
Well, that's and
His wife made him.
He did. Well, she told him you got to leave.
Right, you got.
So I mean, what's he gonna do? I mean, you got to
know
kill a
what to
few
do.
minutes. You got to go qualify.
Trent Thrasher says, let's talk about all the new businesses coming to Rainbow City. We ain't got that much time today, Trent.
Yeah, we could do that all day long. I mean, it's somebody said the other day, since we took office, this council and administration, how many businesses? We know it's over 100. That's not normal for a city to have that kind of growth. I mean, we know just you check your growth in two things. One is no doubt in population. We're an increasing value in population. Our census is going to be up again. It'll probably be around a little over 1.5%, which is a great number. And we're surrounded by some cities, or not surrounded, but we have cities in our area that are regressing, that are losing population. We know one thing because we do the study to make sure we don't want to take their population. We're wanting new population, whether it's through family growth or whether it's through people migrating into this state, which we know that we have a great migratory. We're second in the nation of people moving to our city or moving to our state to set up household, And so, we know that. The second way of knowing is in revenue, and that is that our increasing revenue, you'll hear people pop off and say, that they're making a lot of money, they're doing this or that. It still comes down to dollars and cents. Number 99 is number 99 every time. It doesn't change. And in our case, when we took office the previous 2 years, I think the average of the revenue for our city was somewhere around $10 to $11 million. We'll be just at or just north of $21 million. That's 5 years, y'all. 5 years, and you've more than doubled your revenue, and we've done that because we're adding businesses and opportunity for people. Knowing when to incentivize. Having the people like. That are already here, like Choice Fabricators. David Chadwick and his son Will are over in, I think they're in Thailand, where a machine is being built that's probably as big as this wing of this building.
Yeah.
Right now, I think it's a $11 million machine. Total investment close to $20 million. 35 additional jobs in Rainbow City that come with the pay and the benefits that'll make a family stay here and want to continue to work and make our kids come back to work. And I think incentivizing the companies that we already have here, and then continuing to do our economic development with new industry, which we have SMD Metals that's coming. We have, Rainbow Auto Auction that's coming. We have another company that we're dealing that I can't call their name right now, but I will release that soon. Cool. They'll be coming here and they're bringing all of those four things. Equate to almost 350 jobs. Well, that's a game changer.
Incredible.
When we have basically 5,000 working people in the city now, all of a sudden we're going to add that percentage of growth. That's real growth.
Just wait till the mega site announces and those jobs start to pour in.
Yes,
this
absolutely.
city is going to
I got a chance to go down to the beach this weekend and pass by where Novellus is being built.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you were down there, and you look at that kind of growth in one spot that that there's going to be, there right now 700-800 people out there doing construction work. It's going to move up to around 1,500, 2,000 jobs, making, I think it's like 75% of all the aluminum containers in the world, a global, in global context, that's unbelievable.
Can we do a quick fact check right here?
Sure.
I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Jameson said that it took him 5 years to become Beth Lee's favorite. Is he indeed the favorite?
That's a no.
Yeah, we're gonna have.
I mean, I want it to be. I want it to be for Jameson.
He wants it to be.
Sure.
He needs that.
No. That's a simple no. I don't want to go in.
Do you like that, James?
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all right. Hey, somebody. When somebody says somebody says, it's
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
they're
Somebody
making
say-
it up. Well, this
Right.
is actually somebody did say this.
Okay.
Somebody said that there is a rumor going around, and not asking you to speak to rumors,
Okay.
but
I will.
that AI that the mega site could be a very potentially a spot for an AI. Was it called a data center?
Yeah, data center.
Is it large enough to do that?
Yes, it is. Let me say it this way. Data centers create a lot of revenue. They don't create jobs.
Right.
Now,
Sure.
and so and I'm not speaking for Etowah County but we are in a memorandum of understanding that the two entities of us will get together and decide what's good and what's bad for us. I would consider that a secondary business or whatever that we would want. We're looking for probably a big OEM. I mean, you don't want to waste location on an interstate if you're not going to transport something out. You don't put AI in a box and send it out. It's all done online. They're a huge power user, so Alabama Power would absolutely come in. They would be in good shape to see a data center, but at the same time,
water. Right?
They use a lot of water. And you've got to clean a lot of water, because they don't take the water and actually use it. They use it in a process and then put it right back out. So that water has to go into the building and come back out, which we're good with that. I mean, all of those things are positives. I just don't see from the if it was 1,000 high-paying jobs, yes, but a data center will be ran with 75 people. And to say that you're going to take the state's only mega site and dedicate it to a Google center, I'm not real sure that that's going to be the best.
But I got to figure it out. I mean,
Mindset.
because I think I don't think Trent's working on Father's Day weekend. He can just whip them up something.
He can knock them
Trent
something
Thrasher
out.
Construction can build
right,
them something.
That's right.
Yeah.
Somebody, Cody
Lasher
said Trent Thrasher needs to get us a Chick-fil-A going here in Rainbow City.
He's got to get something going, man.
Milo's?
Yeah.
I mean, that brother's building everything.
I've been talking Milo's for
Everything.
5 years,
Yeah.
Joe.
I know, and we've actually had Milo's, where they were coming and the land deal didn't work out, and that's the thing is everybody says, Joe, why don't you go get us a Longhorn Steakhouse? Why don't you go and get us this big name brand?
You are the man.
Well, yeah, I am, but what you have to understand is there's a demographic study that goes out, and if you don't meet those three basic things, which is population, which is normally in household median income, and we meet that, and traffic count. If you don't have their number, they don't even see you. So then we have to send our consultant Lisa Young that does a lot of our commercial and retail consulting, and Jeff Boyd. We have to send them out and say, hey, go and talk to these people and carry the concentric circle. Take the data that we've gathered and show them that our city is a viable place to put this business, and that works. I mean, we don't have a Dunkin' Donut because we don't have enough traffic, and because we don't have enough disposable income. Because coffee, pastries, certain types of restaurant are considered excessive income items, and we've got that.
That's right.
So we've got Viva that's doing extraordinarily well, and we don't have any problems, and we've got a new an announcement probably in the next few weeks. It may be that I could announce it today, but I don't do that for other people. I don't tell their story, but we have other things that are coming that are along that line of being that national brand that people say,
it's not
oh
a
my
Sam's
gosh,
Club. I'm telling you, it's not Sam's.
it's not Sam's. Yeah, I wish it
Although
was.
that would be
that
great.
would be great too.
Heck yeah.
That would be nice.
I'm saying.
But I think it's the everyday, the economic development and growth of Rainbow City is, we don't run around beating our chests and standing in front of a backdrop with our city name on it. No, we just don't do that. I mean,
You ain't got time.
Well, we don't have time, and also it's stealing the thunder of other. It's somebody else's story. I want choice fabricators. David and I, we were talking just a few weeks ago, and we'll put out a press release about this opportunity. He wanted to see his machine built, and then they'll take that thing, dismantle it, and they'll float it on a ship over here. It's the only way you
I
can
saw
get
those
here.
pictures they put out.
It's huge.
It
It's a monster machine, and it just proves that reinvestment into Rainbow City. David Chadwick does not want to go anywhere else.
loves Rainbow City.
He loves Rainbow City.
We're thankful for it. Officer Jenkins wants to know if we talked about the cameras for the police department already.
Oh no, well, that is another good thing. We've entered into an agreement with Alabama Power to bring more cameras, and it came out of a situation that happened at one of our parks, and I'll open the kimono and show you everything we got here.
I'll pass.
Yeah, thank you. It's probably best for you. If Rachel's on there, she'll tell you that's not the best idea.
You don't want that.
Yeah, but no, we had a situation at one of our parks where a grandparent thought that their child was being abducted. I think we investigated it, found the person. There was nothing to it. There was no credible evidence or information that would lead us to believe any of that. But I can tell you what it did. It made us think, but that there's that potential. Mm-hmm. Sure. And so we'll work off of probability in Rainbow City, which, everybody else is normally just reactionary. And I guess you could qualify this as a reaction. But what we've done is gone in and we've coupled with Alabama Power, who is a great security service as well, and that a lot of people don't understand that portion of their business. But we're going into Vivian Maddox Park on both ends. If you come into our parks from now on, starting in the next few weeks, we're going to take a picture of you. We're going to take a picture of your car. Mm-hmm. This allows for us to go in. We control and own all of the data. They just provide the power pole and the placement of the camera. And what we'll be able to do is to do the same thing that we do with flock cameras, where we have a perimeter. Mm-hmm. We've drawn a line in the sand when it comes to crime and said, you're not coming into Rainbow City to do crime. If you live here, you can do your crime, but we'll find you doing that too. And and at some point you've got to decide to get on the road and leave. Yeah. And we're going to track you and find you, and we're going to deal with you at the full extent of the law. And we've Camp Yancey, our police chief, he and his team put together these cameras are just smarter than the average bear. I mean, they're not reading your retina or anything like that. But if you're wearing a red shirt and you come into our park and you show out, we'll find every person that has a red shirt. Yeah. If now we will read your face and figure out when you come into some of the areas of the city if you've hurt or abused children.
That's right.
I mean, we can put you on a database and we'll pull you up and say, hey, you don't get to be here anymore, and we'll just take you back where you belong, and that's the jail.
I mean, Vivian Lee Maddox I have no concern. My wife, she loves to go walk over there. At this point, yeah, but it's even better now.
That's right. Well, yeah, because what we do is we give that lady that's walking, or that young guy or girl, the opportunity to go into a place and know that it's a safe place. Yeah. We used to always put the big safe place diamond on the front of our buildings and say, this is a safe place. Yeah. I'm telling you, we can put it at the entranceway of our city.
Heck yeah. No
say
question.
This is a safe place.
Yeah.
And that's
that
the
big
intent.
Gadsden sign.
Yeah.
That's a different story. That's different
totally
show. Different show.
That is not a show when he's here.
Yeah. We'll give you plausible.
You just put me on the spot.
Yeah, we know him, and he'll start talking. So we're not going to do that.
Right. Well, it is election season. So.
Yeah.
Fun shows coming.
They are coming. All right, stay tuned. This week we've got Kapow shows coming out of the Wazoo.
Tomorrow's Atala.
Okay.
And then we have an election show
Friday. Thursday's a Kapow show. Just Jeff and I.
And we have our guest is on Friday. Is who?
is Jerry Ramsey.
Jerry Ramsey.
Yeah, he is place one.
Place one.
Yeah, he's gonna be running in place one, and we're very super smart guy, just
Yeah,
a
he
fun
is.
guy to
He
talk
is a
to.
nice guy.
Very excited to have him
Smart
on with
as
us
a whip, too.
on Friday. We have a ton of more people who are going to come and be on that election show on Fridays. It's
Yeah, that election show is going to be really, really good for the area.
Yeah.
You know, people do want to meet them and hear them talk, and,
Yeah.
and you know, kind of hear what their direction's going to be for their cities. You know, Larry announced over in
Yeah.
Attala. I thought, you know, it's always good because now, you know, I get to maintain that single phone call, you know, to call and say, you know, Larry, what do I do here? You know, it's amazing how he actually he sent me a text the other day and was kind of bragging on my performance or whatever, and you know, and I thought, man, you know,
Only Rachel would.
here's this guy, you know, that I would call early on, you know, when we were going through troubled times, you know, and I could get a word of encouragement, if nothing else, and he sends me a word of encouragement, talking about our leadership. But I just appreciate that.
he's good for that, especially after 10 p.m.
Okay.
I got two
Yes,
words.
well, I
before
got a lot of those texts.
2 words. Jesse Battles.
Oh, yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, see, the whole thing's heating up, man. I'm telling you, you know, because, you know, you go into municipal elections, even though we don't get elected on the same days, that is the beginning of the qualification. Not qualification, it's just where people begin to announce, because those area or district Senate and House races and all of those things, and then the national or the state races, they all start about a year and a half in advance of the year in advance of the primaries and year and a half in advance of the general election, and that's happening right now.
Does Larry use his picture with Jay Freeman on his new campaign slogan?
I would.
Or ads?
I would. Absolutely. Hey, if you're in a picture with Jay, put him on your campaign.
Attention
I'm
getter.
telling you, man.
No question.
Yeah,
That,
it's like wearing a yellow suit.
that lettuce,
Right.
man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got this lettuce just
It does.
flowing, man.
Yeah.
He's good for it.
But people, you're gonna get a lot of votes if he connects with you. People love that guy, man. It's crazy.
What's not to love, man? It's good too.
Hey, next governor, maybe. No, not the next. But
Not the next.
not the. maybe
But we
next
hope to have the
after.
next governor on, thanks
I mean,
to Joe
we
Taylor. so.
potentially could have the governor on the show all
We
the time.
could.
That's right.
I mean,
Who knows?
Lieutenant Governor Joe Taylor. Interesting.
That sounds crazy.
That's all I got.